Hello guys, this video is again part of your foundational course which is completely free on our channel. 10 to 12 videos are already there. More than that is there, but 10 to 12 is mandatory videos for any beginner. And after watching those videos, you will no longer be a beginner and you will be clearly confident that clearing this exam is not a very big deal. Okay, if you do a very disciplined studies, whether it is for 1 year or 6 months or 8 months, how much ever months, if you do it in a very disciplined way with enough amount of revision, with focusing on syllabus and previous year papers, this exam is crackable in the very first attempt. Okay, no matter how late you start. So this topic today is about mains, because mains we have videos, but that is all scattered here and there. So I thought in the foundational course of 2021 itself, I'll put a video called how to write answers, because many students have been asking questions. And also our test series is beginning tomorrow, the mains test series for 2021, all the batches, batch 1, 2 and 3. So because of that, I thought this is important that you watch it today before you write the exam tomorrow. And 11 tips I have consolidated, 11 type of advices which I can give for exam answer writing. Yesterday we were supposed to post this video, but I could not because of certain reasons here. So we'll discuss things like how we guide for mains, then 11 general tips, as I told, the sources to study already we have given, so that I will not discuss here, but I'll show you the previous year paper books, then structure and formatting, difference between all these keywords which comes in the question in UPSC, mark distribution and scoring, test series details, which already we have shown you multiple times, so we'll see whether I can discuss again. Then when to start studying for mains, that I will tell you now itself. First, to begin the UPSC, you have to first go and check the syllabus and the previous year paper. Then you will get an idea whether you have to do extra effort on mains, or you are already strong in many things of mains. So first you should go and check that. Based on that, you have to decide. Okay, it varies from individual to individual. There is nothing like you have to start writing answers from day one, or you have to write at all. Okay, even if there are people I know who don't touch any writing, but after clearing prelims, the 2-3 months they put extra effort and they easily clear the mains also, because knowledge wise they are anyway good, and writing also they were kindly good in their college level or school level, so they just have to refresh their writing skills. Okay, so for those people it is okay you start late also, but others you have to, if you are very weak in English or in UPSC content and you don't know how to summarize something very easily or to highlight the points which you want to convey to the examiner, then you have to start writing now. Okay, if you are very poor in conveying something through writing. 20 and 21 batches. 2020 we are not launching any batch now for mains. Mini test series kind of thing towards the end will be there. Already one batch is running, which we have kept on hold before prelims. That I will resume within few weeks. But a fresh batch we have not yet decided now. Maybe in December, that is just before you give your exam in mains. In January, maybe we'll do a mini test, like just 4 or 5 tests. One for GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, and essay. 5 tests we'll conduct. You will write, we will evaluate, or we'll give you the model answer, any method. Okay, we'll see that how it will be worked out, but as of now there is no plan. 2021 3 batches, as I told, will start tomorrow. This is the dates of exams. So there is no more enrollment now for evaluation batch. It's all closed. Third batch is also closed, but you can get the batch where there is no evaluation, meaning you will get all the questions, you will get all the answers in PDF format. 280 questions is what we are planning. Here you can see 21 test, 280 questions, 100% UPSC syllabus. So if you can see the topics here, it's all taken from the syllabus only. Okay, world history, international bodies. We have made it like a cycle: GS1 2 3 4, GS1 2 3 4, like that, 5 cycles. Okay, in one of the cycle it will be essay instead of GS4, but everywhere else it will be GS1 2 3 4, and the level will increase, meaning the number of questions in each test will go on increasing, and by the end you will be writing 20 questions. Okay, that to 40 questions like you actually write in the UPSC exam day. Like morning you will write GS1 and afternoon GS2. Same like that we'll make you write by 20 March. Okay, so next 5 months starting from tomorrow, November 7, this will go on. Batch 3 will get just the PDFs of this thing without evaluation. Batch 1 and 2 you can submit the answers and evaluation will be done. Okay, already things are shared to you in brochure, but I'll try to make an instruction video one more time tonight itself, so that you can watch it tomorrow before starting the answers. Okay, this is the playlist of foundational video 2021 UPSC must watch. See, around 41 videos are there now, so all these will help you become the best aspirant in the country, so please go and watch this. The previous year's all paper book you have to purchase, that is Arihant and Disha publication. Anyone, okay, it's not like, and there are many other authors also. Many students come and ask like, you showed only 2 books, there are various other books. You are free to buy any book which is comfortable for you. Okay, it is just that you need to have a grip on what UPSC actually asks, what are the questions they ask. Okay, already I have explained, there are 4 or 5 different videos which already explains all those things, and Rajya Sabha TV is a must for all the dynamic papers, GS2, GS3. So you should know that. And this is the things which is the distribution of marks. If you see here, paper A and paper B, people take it very lightly. Like in prelims, you take CSAT very lightly. Many people take paper and B as very light, but it has to be cleared. Okay, if you don't clear those things, your other papers will not be corrected. No matter how brilliant you are, you have wrote everything in other papers. If the first day, if you don't write this properly, that only 25% I think pass marks. So out of 300, you have to get around 75 marks. Okay, which you will get, you should get if you have basic language skills. So that also how to do that. There is a separate video for paper A, B, essay 1, 2, 3. Everything I have made free video, completely free videos. You don't have to go to any coaching, nothing. Okay, this alone you watch, you will easily clear these papers, provided that you write and practice some things. So this is the mark distribution. Just pause and see, because I've shown you multiple times. This is the videos which I'm talking about. If you see the video length, 44 minutes for essay, 23 minutes for paper A and paper B. Then there is GS 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all around 1 hour duration. In one day you can complete. In 5 to 6 hours, if you dedicatedly do this, then I'm promising you this is the best knowledge you will get compared to any other coaching which you pay lakhs and lakhs of rupees and study. Okay, so please see to it that you watch all these videos next day itself, maybe tomorrow, and you will be coming back again and again to HIS, because this quality is not given anywhere in this country. Okay, for free. So before the tip 1 to 10, a tip 0 where we'll see a very basic things which you should know ideally. Okay, UPSC mains is a very low scoring exam. Okay, you don't think like you are getting 100 out of 100 in your exams, and in your school level, college level, you are 90%, you are an A+ candidate. Nothing matters. Okay, here even the topper gets less than 50% marks. Okay, you can go and check that whatever total marks I told you, 2250 or something, out of that people score nearly 1000 something only. Okay, 50% marks only. Even the topper get, that is the rank 1 which you see and celebrate all over the internet and media, that person is getting only this much marks. So you don't should not be greedy or overconfident that you will go and change the things which is going on now. Okay, and out of 20 questions, which is normally the count of questions in most of the papers, in ethics paper maybe it is like 16 questions, 18 questions, but in other papers it is 20 questions in GS 1, 2, 3. Everybody cannot write everything. Okay, you have to try to see that at least 12 to 14 or 15 questions you should have thorough knowledge. Okay, and that you should write very nicely, and you should get half mark for everything. Meaning, if it is a 15 marker, you should try to get at least 7.5 out of it. If it's a 10 marker, you should get at least 5 marks out of it. So that way, if you go, you will get a total of 50% and you will be among the toppers. Okay, that is what your target should be. And how much ever brilliant you write, they will give you only that much. Okay, the most efficient answer will get only 5 or 6 or 7 out of 10. Nobody will get 10 out of 10 for questions. And remaining like 15 questions I told you should be thorough, and 5 questions, if you know it, do it and take a chance and write. But please don't try to write blunders and what you do in school level. Okay, they will easily feel bothered about it and they will just strike off your paper. Okay, they will not sit and do that, because they have to correct this any number, like I think 9,000 or 10,000. This year I think the prelims result, 10,500 people cleared prelims. So those 10,500 people will be writing the mains. So that many papers they have to sit and correct. So they will not show you any concern. Okay, if they don't like something which you wrote unnecessarily, that will be striked off. Paper and B, I already told you, don't take lightly. Essay and case studies is high scoring and you should focus on that. Okay, essay is the paper where most of the people, their ranks itself change. Okay, and case studies also will be very easy because they give you a scenario. Like suppose you are a district collector, some earthquake happened and how will you handle that issue? Or they'll give you family related thing. Okay, like you failed in exam, then you have to, like you are lying to your parents. Is it ethically right, morally right, or corruption, or something like scenario? Okay, it can be office level, professional, family, anything it can be. Okay, but they'll give you a scenario and you have to explain it. So the decision making power is what they're testing and how well you handle the whole situation. Okay, impressing all the stakeholders. So that and all I have already showed in multiple videos, but case studies related also specific video will come after a month. Okay, I'm planning the video. Optionals is again high scoring because it varies from individual to individual. It's your specialization. You are choosing that optional. Okay, only problem is there are 2 papers and it's going to be very lengthy. So you have to see to it that your preparation level is very high. Okay, you can start with your optional when you start now. But it depends again from person to person. If it's history or geography or something, already 90% of what is your optional syllabus, you are already studying for your prelims and all. So there is nothing special to study. So your studies will get over. But if you are totally taking something else like mathematics or economics is still fine, but mathematics or zoology or botany or something which is totally not there in your GS papers, then you have to do extra effort. So please see to it that you start studying extra. Okay, every day 2 hours or something, you have to start studying that. GS1 and GS4. Static things will come, 90% of them will be static, but remaining there will be like globalization trends, you have to see society, women empowerment. There are certain things like that. It's not about just history and geography in GS1. Please watch my mains video for that. And GS4 again, it is completely static, I can tell, but there will be some codes or some report data statistics you can take it to support your answer. Okay. And case studies are also taken from certain current affair items, like if any gas leak happened in one plant, based on that they'll put a case study. Okay. Then GS2 and GS3, it is tough, it is low scoring. Okay, as I told, 50% for overall, you will not even get 50% in GS2, GS3. Okay, so see to it that you are ready for such things. Even when you join any mains test series, if they are giving you full marks every time, that means their correction process itself is wrong. They're simply encouraging you and making you happy because you have paid the money. Okay, but when you go to the actual GS exam, you will feel the pressure and you will understand. Also, you will have a false hope that, okay, I have wrote same like I write in my coaching classes, so I will clear. But when the result comes, your name will not be there. Okay, you have to see that you are learning from a proper mentor. Okay, so it's dynamic again. GS2, GS3 is the toughest paper because they ask almost everything which happens in news, Supreme Court judgments or any terrorist attack or anything which happens in this world, they can pick up and ask. That is a general tip 0. Now tip 1, first one, you should know all the previous year papers. Okay, 1995 to 2020 now, 21 batch I'm telling. Every question, answers to all of them you have to sit and write at home. Then you will get to know a pattern format. Already 95, I think 2013 to 2019, all questions of all the papers I've already shown. I've already discussed the pattern format, what is the weightage, everything I've already discussed. Please watch that GS1 to 4 videos, which is completely free. Okay. Mark distribution keeps changing every year. Now they have kept a standard as of now. That also go and watch, like few questions will be 10 mark, few questions will be 20 mark. Earlier it was not like that. Earlier in one question itself there will be many sub parts and they will put like 4 plus 6 plus 3 like that. It was very complicated. Okay, many sub parts will be there, ABC. So it was very complicated, but now it is more standardized. So 2020 and 2021, I don't know whether they'll again change it. Okay, because it's totally their decision. They do not inform this first itself. It is like a shock in the exam hall when you suddenly see a totally different pattern. Okay, syllabus hopefully you will know much before if there is any change, but the pattern and format and mark distribution, they change it as and when they like. Okay, so please be ready for that. And repetition, like many topics repeat, like in GS3 there is this PPP model, hybrid model, these kind of things always it's asked every year. Okay, almost every year the same question keeps on coming. Globalization is one topic where every year it comes. About water, like water scarcity or irrigation methods, these kind of things, every year one question is there. So that means you have to study that, there is no other option. Okay, so like that there is repetition. Again, you will get all these answers in the GS1 to 4 video. Then there are UPSC favorite topics, same thing. Okay, so this is the tip 1. You should be writing by yourself every previous year paper. First you can look and write in the Arihant publication book or any book, and then you will get a grip of it. Then later you should self-evaluate yourself. Okay, you should randomly open the book, look for a question and try answering it yourself, whether you are able to write 2 pages or 2.5 pages. That means you are improving. Okay, and if it's totally okay if you don't be able to write it. Okay, again go and read it and again write it. That's how you learn. Please don't think that only a coaching institute can teach you. You should self-evaluate and self-learn. That is tip number 1. Now tip number 2, read instructions fully. Okay, in the starting of the paper always there will be detailed instruction. That also, again, I'm not showing you screenshots here, but in the other papers, GS1 to 4 video, I have shown all this. Okay, as I told, this video is just to summarize all the things which is already available in my channel. So please take this as tips, not like a full-fledged learning process. Okay, learning already, the videos are out. So read instructions fully, because there they will sometimes tell write only question number 5 or 7. Okay, there'll be sections and all. Sometimes there'll be section A and section B in your paper, and there'll be like 3 questions given here, 3 questions given here, and maybe in the instructions they have written write only 2 questions from section A. You, without reading the instruction, will go and sit and write 3 questions there unwantedly, which is useless, which they won't even evaluate, and then you will waste your half an hour to 45 minutes there in the exam hall. So please read the instructions very carefully and write only the questions and only the number of questions they ask you to do. Okay, especially in essay, they'll give you section A where 4 questions are there, section B 4 statements. You have to write only 1 from here and 1 from here. So 125 marks for this, 125 marks for this. That is how 250 marks of essay it is. Okay, and now generally what they're doing is one section they are putting full philosopher quotes. Okay, some quotes will be given here, and that you have to elaborate. And the second section will be a GS type topic, like women empowerment or globalization or anything of that sort. Okay, any GS related topic. Read questions fully and properly. Again, that is a follow-up of that. Questions also will have different things, like they'll be given weightage, like this is to be stressed more. or there are keywords which I'll explain in the next slide, like critically analyze or elucidate or explain or elaborate. There are different words. So read properly and question and answer accordingly. And all subparts has to be answered, as I told. If there are 2-3 subparts and if one subpart alone you cannot impress the examiner by simply writing about that same subpart again and again. Okay, there will be a certain weightage for that section. How much ever you write, you will get only that. Okay, if in the examiner's mind it is 10 plus 5 for 2 subparts and you don't even know what is that second subpart, you simply keep on writing this. How much ever you write, they will give you just 5 out of 10 for this. Okay, this 5 is totally gone there. So totally 5 out of 15 you will get. Okay, this 5 is gone and here 5 is gone because of their evaluation. So 5 out of 15. So don't simply over stress on the same subpart. Okay. Mark distribution, again same thing. Word limit. Word limit is something which in recent years they have stressed upon, that you have to not exceed the word limit. Okay, please read that again. Sometimes they will be allowing you to exceed, but please read the instructions again. And it depends from paper to paper. And also GS is not like you will write in separate paper or something. Your question booklet itself is your answer sheet. Okay, so after the question there will be space allotted, half page or 2 page or how much ever. So that allotted space is your place where you should write. Okay, so you don't have to worry like you have to take extra paper or something like that. It's all written in the same booklet and you will be submitting that booklet come question paper only. Okay, now tip number 3, use of rough space. There is rough space which I also told in prelims also, please use effectively. For mains it is more important at the end, because you have to, once you write it, then striking it off again and again is not good. So you should use the rough space properly in the actual UPSC exam, where you can like when you decide the question, like suppose you decide globalization is some trend or something, or after 1991 reforms India is moving towards development, some statement they give and you have to elaborate. You have to think that question in your mind first and as bullet points note down in the rough space. Okay, because points will not come in orderly fashion into your brain, because you're studying that many things will come out of random. Okay, so see to it that you organize it here and then you decide, okay, this I'll write first, then this I'll write first, then like this, then I'll break a paragraph, then I'll put a side heading. So you have to organize that in the rough space and write only the final copy in your UPSC paper, which will be like this. 2-side margin will be there and here UPSC will be written. Okay, so and don't write very closely. Okay, if you write it like this, even if something extra you have to add at the last minute or in the middle of the exam, suddenly you remembered a very important point, you would not be able to fill it. So always have a decent line spacing when you write each line. Okay, so that anything can be filled up. Okay, in between like this you can fill something like this between these 2 words. Okay, so see there is at least decent spacing, but that again should not be, because some students, because they don't know much content, they simply write it very widely like this. So that examiner think, okay, I have filled 2 pages like that. That and all is blunder. It is not a school level exam. UPSC will simply strike it off. Okay, how much ever you try to fool them, they will catch it, because they are correcting papers in thousands. Okay, every year. So you cannot fool them. Please maintain a neat paper like this. Okay, and even if it's your running letters, okay, you people write whatever running letter, please see to it that it's visible. Most of the people's, some of the letters like M, N, U, V, these are all, when in running letters, almost all letter looks same. So please see to it that it's legible and people can read it properly. Okay, so certain things which is like very basic, but people still go and do it. They write like very like junk, like medical paper or something, and it is not readable, and you will lose mark because of that. Okay, you should not test the patience of the examiner. Time management again. You have to allot. Okay, as I told, like if it's an essay paper, only 2 questions you have to write. Okay, 125, 3 hours. So you have 1.5 hours for this, 1.5 hours for this. So you have to split it. Okay, like 30 minutes I will just brainstorm. Then 20 minutes I'll just organize, something like that. And then 45 minutes I'll simply write. So like that you have to organize your 3 hours very clearly. Okay, when it comes to 20 questions, split according to that. 10 questions according to that. How much ever questions is in there, split into 3 hours. And this will all happen when you start writing from now. And this is the reason people are asking you to go and join test series. Okay, else you can do it by yourself also. In the home, set a clock and start doing it. 2 hours, 3 hours, these many questions I will write. It's totally fine, you fail. Nobody is going to see that. You are writing it for yourself. Okay, so like that, time management has to be improved right from now. Structuring and formatting, again I'll tell you, introduction, body, conclusion and all. In the next slide I'll tell you. So tip 4, next one. These are the keywords. Okay, explain, elucidate, evaluate, elaborate, analyze, critically analyze or critically evaluate, critically discuss will come, then only discuss, then throw some light on, what is your opinion on, then justify, list down, enumerate, like that. Many keywords are there which UPSC fits along with statements. First thing you have to understand is there is no very big difference between all these keywords. Okay, everywhere you have to obviously explain what is the statement is, but whether you have to go it in a very detailed way or whether you have to just list down, that is where the differences comes. Okay, so basically you want to know when, how, where, why, what. These are the things which UPSC will ask you. Obviously, of any type of topic it is, this is what they will ask you, but slight differences, so that you will know what they're intending. Okay, explain is the very basic term. Obviously, you know, like explain something means when they're asking you to explain something, so you have to make them understand. So it will be obviously why or how. Okay, why is it like this, or how is it like this? You have to explain that concept to them, or what is it. Okay, so why, how, what, very basic thing. That's called explain. There's nothing much to brainstorm there. When they tell elucidate, it is actually cite some examples. Okay, that is why elucidate. You have to not only just explain, you have to show some examples for that. Examples of proof or evidence or something which supports your answer, not like simply write some theory and come. That is what elucidate means. And then evaluate. So you are checking the validity of that question. Okay, you have to evaluate that. Okay, like evaluate is usually used in where? In mathematics. Okay, you have to evaluate that, calculate that. So that means you have to, if something is given, and evaluate means you have to check for its this thing, whether it is true, and if it is true, you have to give the pro and con or something like that. Is how it is evaluated. Okay, whether it is valid or not. Elaborate. So elaborate is again a detailed way of expansion. Okay, something is given and elaborate means you have to elaborate that topic, meaning you have to throw some light. Okay, sometimes UPSC nowadays is using this word also, throw some light on the Gupta dynasty, or Gupta, this thing is the golden age of something. So they will ask like that and put elaborate. So you have to expand it in such a way that it looks like a NCERT explanation. Okay, it looks like very detailed, and it will clear all the doubts of person who is reading. So as I told, explain and elaborate is almost same only, but it is little more clearer, little more easier for anyone to understand. Okay. Examine is again, examine is what? Like you are giving an exam. Okay, so or in medical terms, like you are examining a patient, so you are doing a little bit in-depth analysis. Okay, so there is one more word for that. If they'll sometimes ask analyze. Okay, analyze is also like examine. You have to break down. Okay, that is the word. You have to break down that question into little more deeper portions. Like I'll show you in the next slide. I think I've given, yeah, analyze means break down into subparts. Okay, the main question you have to break down in level by level and show like, okay, this is the timeline, this is the way it evolved. Okay, that growth of that thing, whatever topic is asked, that you have to do. Okay, that is analyze. Again, I am telling you all these meanings, but this is not standard meanings. Okay, every teacher will tell you in a different way. But what I understand, what I have analyzed the question papers, this is the easiest one-liner I can give. Whatever you see in red color is the one-liner. But in detail, maybe I can make one more video where I will show you examples of each question of each word. Okay, there will be questions. So obviously, in every last 25 years paper, I can show you questions, examples of each of these keywords. Okay, now critically evaluate. Most people's problem is critical word. When they see, they think you have to write the negative side of it, like it is wrong or you have to criticize it. It's not like that. That is one big mistake which most students are doing. Okay, critically evaluate or critically discuss, critically whatever they ask, you have to discuss both sides. Okay, and you don't have to take a stand and all, but you have to provide a proper conclusion. Okay, and it need not be a negative conclusion also. Critically never has a meaning where it is negative. So that is why I put this thing to make you clear about that thing. Okay, critically does not mean criticize. You have to explain both sides and end it with a futuristic conclusion. Okay. Discuss is like very easy. Again, like we tell like group discussion or discuss something. So that means you have to tell various aspects to it, which actually for every question you can do. When you explain or elaborate, you are doing the same thing. But discuss is little more lighter kind of word where it looks much more simpler. Okay, so again I'm telling, maybe you are thinking like this also he's telling same thing, that also he's telling same thing, but a person who is well versed in English will understand the basic meaning of what is explained and what is discussed. Okay, so various aspects in a logical way. The social angle, economic angle, political angle, there are certain things which you have to tell. Again, in another slide I will show you, which is like mandatory. Any topic you are discussing, you have to go through all the aspects, whether it's hunger, poverty, literacy, anything of social issues. You have to take the which all angle it can affect the economy, which all angle it can political angle is there, or any patriotic angle is there, anything which is different angles. That is what UPSC likes better. Okay, the more side headings they see, the more they are happy. Okay, because that person will get an impression about you that you think in a 360-degree way and you are not just writing a bookish type of answer. Okay, what is your opinion on? There are many questions where this kind of thing is there, and that time always you have to give your opinion. Please don't think that okay, if I give okay, yes, it is correct, or no, it is not correct, no, I don't think so. If you start like an answer, they are not going to feel bad because they are actually asking your opinion. Okay, so here this word your is more important. When they ask you to give an opinion on something, like Supreme Court recently decided something transgender related this thing, or NALSA Act, something is passed, what is your opinion? You have to tell what you feel. Okay, you should not be try to be diplomatic or something. After that you can explain, okay, even though this is like this, I agree to this, but there are certain things which is like partially cannot be agreed or need some improvement, that you can write in your conclusion part or in a futuristic way. But you have to definitely start with your opinion when it is asked. Okay, please give your opinion. Even in interview board that will be asked, please don't take a diplomatic thing, take your stand and tell the opinion. Justify, again it's like evaluate. Okay, we have already told evaluate in the previous slide. So evaluate can be positive or negative. When you justify something, you are justifying what UPSC have told. UPSC told a statement, tell justify means he is expecting you to prove that it is correct. Okay, so that positive evaluation is called justify. Then there is summarize, list down, comment, enumerate, outline. All these things are where you don't need to write lot of explanation. These are places where you have to write bullet points, okay, or you have to list down the things, like these are the facts, these are the things, and you should be neutral. You should not criticize anything, you should not appreciate or anything. It should not be like that. It should be neutral. So you have to just list down, okay, like what are the like list down the SDG goals. You have to simply list down with maybe one liner. You don't have to explain all this, like hunger, poverty, everything in detail. You don't have to explain. Okay, so that kind of, whenever comment is little bit different, but summarize, list down, outline, enumerate, everything is writing down the points and giving to them. Maybe the question also will carry lesser marks because they are asking you only that much thing. Okay, they don't want you to explain the thing, they want you to list it down. Okay, so I hope you got a little bit idea of all these things. It's not like in one video you watch and now you are expert in mains writing. This is for beginners to understand like what all things actually comes in UPSC. Now, as I told, slowly, either you have to join my test series so that you see question and answer, or you have to slowly learn by previous year paper. Then you will get a much more grip on this. Like as I told, this is a foundation. Okay, so I hope it's something at least of some help to you. Now, tip 5. Introduction, body, conclusion. This is the main thing which everyone tells you. Okay, there should be a proper introduction which can be of various forms. Okay, you can begin with a quote, which many people do, or you can start with a history, like historical, like you can tell since these many years it is like this, or over the years government is trying to do that. So like a historical way you can start. Okay, or geographically, politically. There are many ways to start an introduction, but it should be crisp and it should be to the point. Like a paragraph, if you start, that is better. Okay, if you write it like this, that looks little more nicer. Okay, instead of starting with a side heading. So that is how introduction should be. And quote is like, people ask like quote, how many quotes I should use. You can use any number of quotes, but don't overwrite like too many quotes. You should not write. Introduction also quote, body also quote, conclusion also quote. That will not look good. Okay, in the starting and ending, if it is relevant, you should put the quote. Okay, because examiners like people like Martin Luther King or Gandhi or Tolstoy or Napoleon, any famous people. Okay, these people names, if you want, who are the famous people, go and check the ethics paper. In ethics paper, they themselves would have asked about many people like Karl Marx or any such people. Okay, so I'm not remembering names now, but any such political or ethical thinkers, those people's quotes, which you will get it from your lexicon textbook itself. At the end, it's given n number of quotes. Okay, that if you by heart some one quote. Okay, from now start doing that. Go and you should have a notebook where you should have quotes, where like education, at least 1 or 2 quotes, poverty, 1 or 2 quotes, and every day keep reading it. Okay, like you study your world map every day. Quotes also every day, study 2 quotes about every topic, about education, hunger, poverty, women empowerment, globalization, anything which you can think, one quote should be there. Okay, even it's historical quote, it's okay, but it should be there because it will value add. People will feel like writing your answer. Even if you go and open your economic survey. Okay, economic survey is the best way to improve your answer writing. If you read the economic survey from starting to end, you will get a clear idea of how to convey something to the opposite, the person who is reading it. Okay, and there also, this time also, if you see many number of quotes, every chapter in economic survey 2019-20 began with a quote. Okay, I think Tiruvallur, one person is there, Tamil Nadu, Sangam time, his quotes were used in almost every chapter. So they themselves are showing you how it should be, so that you have to adapt and put it in the UPSC paper, and they will be 100% impressed by you. Okay, so please try to study things which is there in relevant sources. Economic survey, don't study it from random magazines and random coaching classes. It's not needed. Whatever government has used, try to use them. So that is about the introduction. And body, obviously there are many forms to it that I'll tell you in the one of the next slide, like what all can be there, paragraphs or bullet points or side headings. Conclusion also should be catchy and it should be crisp. summarizing of what you are telling or what is the future of it, okay, like way ahead kind of thing. But you did not write these words, okay. Please don't write in your exam paper explicitly introduction and put aside the thing and all. They themselves will understand by your writing which is introduction, which is conclusion, okay, because you'll be writing it in a paragraph format. Don't write the word conclusion and put an underline like that, okay. Some people use way ahead or anything like that, like future, what is the future, question mark, and they put some paragraph. That's also fine. You are on this thing, fine, but don't write the word a conclusion there, okay. And then the main thing is the connectivity and linking and the structure, okay, especially in essay paper, where you have to connect. A logical connection should be there between each line. Like when this is a paragraph, when this is ending here, the second paragraph should start in such a way that there is some logical connection between these two. It's not like you write here something and here totally different something. That examiners don't like. It should tell like a story and go on, okay, till the conclusion. So that is why I told you, please read economic survey. They keep going, okay. They'll tell, okay, this is like the type of investment which come. They will tell FDI, FPI something. Then the next one, like they will, in the next paragraph, they'll start like FDI is also like that, FPI, there will be a continuity, okay. They will be going into one step ahead, taking the keyword from the previous paragraph. So that connectivity should be there, okay. Now tip number 6, as I told, paragraphs is one way of writing, bullet points is there, side headings you have to do, underlining you have to do, highlighting you have to do, all these things are allowed, okay. Only in essays I will tell you, please reduce these things. Essays, try to stick to paragraph, okay. And you can underline, obviously you can underline every important point which you want, or you can just put it in double quotes or something where you can highlight something which you want examiner to definitely read, okay. That you can do in any kind of paper. But in GS 1, 2, 3, 4, you can use anything, okay. All these 5 you can use. Bullet points you can use, side headings you can use, but don't write an answer where starting to end it is just bullet points like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't look good, okay. But in between, when you write something like these are the following are the advantages, you can put a side heading, you can put 5 points. Then we can some of the disadvantages, some of the challenges ahead, something like that, and you can put bullet points. There is no harm in putting bullet points and side headings, okay. And don't fill up too many side headings also. It should look like, as I told, economic survey format, where they will write half a page or this much lines, this much words, and after that the next paragraph will come or next side heading will come. So please study economic survey. That is my biggest tip I can give. Based on that, decide everything. So the biggest doubt which people ask is, can we do this? You can do all of this, but in essay, try to reduce bullet points and side headings, okay. Now tip 7, aspects. As I told, social, economic, political, historical, all the aspects, the maximum number of angles you bring to a question, that is where examiner gets more and more impressed with you, with your answer, okay. So again, not only about that, global level example should be given, national level what it is happening, interstate if any problem is there, local level, okay, like panchayat or direct democracy. These are things which you can take local panchayat or gram sabha examples and quote it if they ask about direct democracy, okay. A question comes about direct democracy. India, you know, it is an indirect democracy, not a direct one. Now US elections is also going on, so try to find out all those things. How is US election different from Indian election and all? So you should try to relate global things with Indian things, Indian thing with global thing, local with state, state with center. Everything should be linked with everyone, everything, okay. The more linking you show, more examples or more open you are in your exam, this thing paper, more marks you will get. But if you are confined to just one level and one dimension, if you are doing, your marks will be very low, okay. Positives and negatives, never take, unless they ask for you to take a stand, please see to it that you always tell the positive and negative of both. How much ever you are liking this government's initiative or whatever, always there should be some scope of improvement. There is nothing which is perfect, okay. Always anything which you like, there will be negatives, or if not negatives, there will be scope for improvements, okay. This is fine, but some more things can be done in future. Maybe more technology can be done, more this thing can be done, more futures, like globally there is much more things happening now, so we can adopt that also. So like that, a way forward you should always give. Never end with only positives or only negatives. Just because you hate this government, maybe don't write everything as negative, okay. There will be always positive things. That is why schemes are done, okay. Schemes are being implemented, so please don't blindly criticize or appreciate anything. Advantage, disadvantage, same thing. And tip number 8 is references, from where and all or what and all you should take. So there is static component in your answer, there is dynamic component in your answer. Static obviously from the NCERT, standard books and previous year paper, not your coaching materials and unwanted magazines and big stuff, because NCERT, standard books and previous paper is what they use as their reference while setting the question paper, okay. Only the very few people understands that. Others are simply throwing books after books for you. Please don't do that. Whatever is there in NCERT, that level of explanation is enough. Okay, UPSC itself in the syllabus, in the notification, they have written, okay, you don't need a master's level of education to write mains answers. You have to write the graduate level or undergraduate level. Okay, 12th standard level exam is what you have to consider when you write the answers. That much easy it should be, the reading. So standard books and previous year paper. This is an economic survey, that kind of things are there. Dynamic content, newspaper and economic survey. Okay, whatever they are quoting. This much stat, this much population, this much rank in a particular report. India's rank has gone down, gone up, or some indicators India has improved or decreased. That kind of things you have to take from these sources. Please don't write whatever you like or whatever you studied from somewhere else. It should be authentic. Okay, the sources which you use. Tip number 9. I think this got repeated. Okay. This is just an enhanced slide. Maybe I repeated it twice. Okay. Judgments you can use. The Supreme Court judgment is the favorite thing of UPSC. I think last year or year before that, the question paper itself had, like in July 2018, Supreme Court gave this judgment. What is your opinion on that? So they gave with the date. Okay. So like that, they themselves are using it. So you can also use all the judgments, not only the ones you see in polity textbook like Keshavanand Bharati or the Berubari case, not only that ones, whichever is latest one, whichever is new ones, whichever is not much heard of, but it is a Supreme Court judgments, you can take it. Okay. So please see to that you use lot of judgments. UPSC people likes it actually. Okay. Dynamic again, Supreme Court judgments. Parliamentary Act is very important. You can use like this act is like that act is like that, or it was recently amended and these many clauses were there, or one bill is recently passed in the parliament, or a state is like doing it, like Telangana has already passed it, so national level also they should try to adopt it. So that kind of any kind of references if you do, UPSC people gets impressed. Okay, so please see to it that you are quoting genuine ones instead of writing a by-hearted copy-pasted answer. Okay. Reports again, as I told, national, global, the rank of India and how improvement can be done. Do not try to impress the examiner, as I told. Answer to the point with a logical structure. Simple answer, easy to understand, using short forms, abbreviations, etc. Okay, this is one thing which I have to tell you. Even if it's a very famous one like SARC or WTO, very, very simple ones also, at least once in your answer paper, please see to it that you will be writing the full form at least once, like World Trade Organization, WTO, in the starting of your answer paper. After that, if you want, you can keep using WTO everywhere, if it is a standard one. But other than that, please don't keep using some these things. Even if it's famous one, popular one, UPSC will not appreciate it. Okay, you have to use the full form at least once in the starting of the answer. It is okay like the words like etc. or via. Okay, these kind of things are okay. Okay, vis-a-vis. These are things which you use in general English literature, that is fine. But the organizations, bodies or anything like that. Okay, I see many people writing like according to ME, it is like that. ME, they may be thinking of something like monetary expansion or mechanical engineering, something, but examiner don't know what you are referring to. So please see to it that at least once you write the full form in the starting and put this abbreviation in the bracket. Okay. Quotes, as I told, relevant, start, body, end, anywhere you can put the quotes, but see to it that you don't overdo it. And these are, okay, those are the tips as of now. And these are the videos. Okay, these are the videos which if you watch, I guarantee you that you will not have even one doubt. Now, even after this video, maybe suddenly you will ask like, but what about that? What about this? I don't understand case study. I don't understand essay. That is because you have not watched these videos. Please watch these videos. I guarantee you that you will not have any doubts. Okay, this is only ethics theory part. Case study part, I'll make a separate video within a month. Okay, now this month I'll be busy now because that series is going on. And practice. Okay, like when should I practice? What should I practice? Practice isn't the thing you do once you are good. It is the thing which makes you, is the thing you do that makes you good. Okay, so understand this quote. It's a very relevant quote. We have been telling this since last 3 years, the same quote I have been using. People have this problem like, I will first study till March, I will study, then I will join test series, then I will write. That is actually not a good decision. Okay, you can go and, even if you're not joining test series, you have to write, start writing now itself from your home. Okay, not like too many, but little bit. Maybe a newspaper, you can make a summary of your own, or some textbook you are reading, you can make notes of your own. It's, or Rajya Sabha TV you are watching, make the summary of it. Whatever, if you can convey something into paper format, that itself is called practice. You don't have to write it in 250 words or 120 words in the starting itself. You can write whichever way you want. Slowly when you do, automatically that practice adds up and you will become an expert. Okay, because there is plenty of time. Even after this prelims you saw, now prelims, they purposely gave the result early 2020 because January you have to give the mains. So they gave you enough time, like 3 months time to study for that. Okay, now December, October, November, December, you are studying. So same like that, 2021 also calendar is released, that also will have that kind of gap. Okay, 80 to 90 days of gap is there. So see to it that that time you are writing lot of answers, but that should not be the first time you write your first answer. Okay, so please see to it that you study accordingly. One more video I'll put it just after this, which will tell you the instructions for writing in Vaishya IAS test series. Okay, and samples of question paper, everything I'll show you. So the analysis which I told, the GS 1, 2, 3, 4 previous year paper, that is what you need to begin with and learn all those answers of previous year paper. As and when you write, you will improve. And prelims, people are asking, enrollment is still going on. It's only the mains that we have stopped the evaluation. Prelims PDF format, just like happening since 3-4 years, it will continue till the next year. But earlier you enrolled, earlier you can study. Okay, because that many tests is there in Vaishya IAS, 75 plus tests this year. So if you have to be an expert and then study everything and then go to the exam hall and crack it easily 100 plus marks, you have to enroll now. Okay. And previous year papers till 2016, everything is done. 2015 videos is going to come this week. I have already started making the PPTs for that. And all these things is completely free, whatever you see on my YouTube. So please just subscribe. When you subscribe it, you will start seeing the notifications and you will not miss anything. Because many people comes and ask me the same question, which I already have explained in videos. Please see all my videos and then only ask queries. Okay. So subscribe, WhatsApp, and also in Facebook, you can come and see our post where definite updates are coming. But nowadays, mostly I'm putting in YouTube only. So wherever, but mandatory thing, WhatsApp me, because then I'll guarantee you that you will get all good content in frequent intervals in video format. Okay. So I'll come up with the next video. Hope this course has helped you. Till my next video, enjoy your learning. Thank you and have a nice day.